class. I'm going to start a regular stream. Don't know yet how regular. That's up for you to let me know. But I thought I'd come on live and talk about issues that have come up for me in the recent history, whether it's the last week or the last month, last few months, things that I've come up with clients and with students, and kind of check in, cover some ground, and see if you have any questions. You can go ahead and type them in the chat. If you're here, go ahead and type your name in the chat. Let's see. All right, so what I'm going to talk about just for a little bit today is file management. This is File Management March, and just talking through some of the core concepts and some of the methods for keeping your files organized. This is important. I think you know why. One of the biggest reasons why it's important is, where the hell are my files? When you have a understanding of the core concepts of file management, that gives you what you need to know what is going on when you save a file, or how to move a file, or just even some good file structure. Let's see. Let's look at File Explorer. File Explorer in Windows is your window, so to speak. It is the application. It is the method for looking at your files in your computer. Think of it as opening a file cabinet. You do have the same basic program in Apple, in Linux, and in Chromebook. You're going to have a window that looks like this, and a window is basically a square opening up on your screen that contains an application that's doing something. That's what applications are, things that do things, software that does something. You open File Manager, you're going to have a couple of sections in there. The first, or the section that I see pretty much, I'm not quite sure on Apple. Again, not my jam, but I'm pretty sure it's in Apple, but I know it's in Chromebook and in Linux. This section on the left is your navigation section. This is like an index or a table of contents for the rest of your drive. This is kind of giving you an outline of what your drive looks like, what's in your drive, what folders you have in there, and how those folders are organized. What folder are they inside of? What's the hierarchy, so to speak? So for instance, I'm going to look at this, we'll start from the top. Home is not really a home. It's just a shortcut that lets you see the folders that you most likely are going to be using. Those folders being your desktop, downloads, documents, pictures, music, video. Gallery, generally the same. It can include other folders that you use commonly. I want to skip one. Well, no, we'll look at it. OneDrive. Your OneDrive is a folder that is in the cloud. It's a drive, that's in the cloud. It's not on your computer. Not quite. Things on OneDrive when you're in Windows are saved on a server, on a OneDrive server somewhere in the world. You know what? Can I find that? Well, it's in one of the other videos on this channel. It's a drive that it is a drive that saved out the world. It's a space where you can save your files. That again is not quite on your computer. It is on a server someplace in Microsoft land, on a Microsoft server somewhere. However, depending on how you have it set up, you can have the actual file also on your computer. So what's going to the OneDrive is a backup, or you just might be seeing a shadow of it on your computer. You're just seeing a pointer, so to speak, that is going to the actual file that is saved out on a Microsoft server. Why? Because you can save file space. If you don't have the actual file on your computer, but it's out on a server, but you just have a pointer that's on your computer, you're saving space. That pointer takes up almost no space on your disk. But your file, which may be a lot bigger, say if it's a video file or it's a very long report, or which doesn't take up as much space, but if it's a very long report or anything else, if that takes up a lot of space, you might be saving it on OneDrive, because OneDrive servers have lots of space, practically unlimited, probably because Microsoft can afford to add more space and more space and more space. But that's an overview of OneDrive. Next, if you look here in Explorer on this navigation side, you've got folders that, these are default folders that Microsoft creates in Windows and has been for at least a decade. This is kind of a starting place to get you organized. A folder for your downloads, so anything that you pull off the internet tends to be downloaded to your downloads folder, tends to be saved in your downloads folder. Not always. I have another video in here about downloading and where your files may or may not be going and how to manage that. Pictures, when you move pictures to your computer or save them to your computer, they tend to, but not always, go to your pictures folder. Depends on the application that you're looking at the pictures or that you're using to save the pictures. For folder for your music, same kind of thing. It depends what application you're using that dictates if it's going to save a music file in the music folder. But documents tends to be the default where files are saved. When you open an application and create something, you open Word and create a document. You open any Microsoft products. Trying to think of any application. I open Acrobat and I create a PDF. It tends to be saved in the documents folder. So that's a place to look often for your files. Let's think of it this way. Think of your computer as a house. Your drive, which is a physical piece that actually sits inside your computer, your drive is a house. Your house has rooms, as we see here, different rooms where you will store different things. Kitchen things you're going to tend to have in the kitchen, not in the bathroom. Bedroom things you're going to tend to have in the bedroom, not on the stairs. I know. We're not going to talk about anybody's specific house. But we'll just say the tendencies, the intent is for things to be in the room where they belong. And organized that way because, if you're looking for a blanket, it's going to be one of two places. You shouldn't have to go from room to room to room to room to look for a blanket. Or if you're looking for a spatula, you know which room it's going to be in, and you wouldn't go from room to room to room. So with that said, your drive, that's your whole computer, that's all the storage on your computer, is divided up into folders or rooms. And in those rooms are things like blankets and spatulas, and on your computer, in your folders are your files, the things that you have created, like that report or that video, and the things you have downloaded, like that attachment from your email or a brochure from a website. Your downloads folder, actually think of that one as your entryway. Kind of when you first walk in the door and your hands might be full, or you might have a lot of things on because the weather's cold. That's the first place where you just dump everything and just drop everything. My cat is trying to escape. It's a warm day. Got the window open. That was a mistake. Your downloads, your entryway is going to be where you might be where you dump your items when you come in the door. Your downloads folder on your computer kind of tends to be that way too. Things that you bring down into your computer, again, email attachments, downloads from web pages, things you might pull from somebody else, from another shared folder like Dropbox. Cat. They tend to be automatically deposited in your downloads folder. Google, your OneDrive, or if you use Google Drive or Dropbox, those are not on your computer. Those are not in your house. Think of that more like public storage. OneDrive is a public place, someplace out in the world, like a public storage facility. It's huge. It can save tons and just not infinite, but just a mega ton of data. Storage units are very large. They can save, or they can contain lots and lots of things. But storage units are divided up into units, sections that just one person, I know it could be more than one, but we'll say one person can access. Your space on OneDrive is a space carved out just for you, and it's attached to your email address, because at some point you did sign up with Microsoft with an email address. Hard to get around. But your space on OneDrive is just for you and just for your things. Even though those are your things, they're not in your house. They're someplace else that has more space for you to hold things that you can't keep in your house because you don't have the space in your house. Very much the same concept. While we're at it, we got one more in here. Your USB drive, that is also a drive. Your thumb drive, USB drive, one of those little portable suckers. Do I have one over here with me? Not on my table. A USB drive stores information, so that, again, that file that you saved, that brochure you downloaded, that video you created, that picture that you pulled off your phone, you might want to share it with somebody else. So you put it on a thumb drive and you take it off of your computer and take it with you, like a car. When you're at home, car's in the garage. But the car doesn't stay in your home, in your house. When you're ready to go, you take that car, you go out into the world. The car is movable, but the storage drive is portable. Hello, phone. So I just wanted to talk about, like I said, a few concepts. I go into a lot more depth with these concepts in the community, the I Get It Tech class community. And there is a link in the comments. I've got videos that go into a great deal more detail. But I also have weekly, at this point weekly, we might do more, live Q&A sessions. So those will be through a live video service like Zoom or Google Meets. And you have the ability now to ask questions for the things or videos that you might have seen and test it out, because I do try to have on there examples for you to try out a concept, such as locating your files. Hey, this is where, like we just did, this is a File Explorer, this is the navigation field. Can you find this? And if you're not able to, we have, again, a live session and the opportunity just to even post questions, specific questions. Hey, can you look at this? Hey, I did that. It's not working. Where I or anybody else in the community can answer questions. So that's all for this live this week. It's still March. Next week, we're going to have one more live session where I'm going to talk about some more issues with file management. We're going to look at what you can do. What's the best way, or what are some best practices for deciding how to organize your files on your computer? So, hope to see you next week. Feel free to leave a question or comment for me, and subscribe if you want to keep getting notifications for when these live events are going to jump off.